Welcome to the Hidden Wealth Coins. Imagine a single penny hiding more power than a winning lottery ticket. Forgotten wheat pennies from America's past are quietly rewriting destinies, turning ordinary pockets into gateways of unimaginable wealth. These tiny copper coins are not just change, they are sleeping giants. One mistake, one perfect condition, one overlooked detail, and your entire fortune could flip overnight, transforming cents into millions and dreams into reality faster than anyone ever imagined possible. First up, imagine holding a single copper coin between your fingers, light enough to forget, yet heavy enough to make your heart race. The 1957 wheat penny looks ordinary at first glance. Abraham Lincoln's calm face, wheat stalks framing the reverse, but history has taught us that the most dangerous treasures never announce themselves loudly. Across America, countless people have spent these pennies without realizing what they were holding, while others locked them away hoping for a miracle. This coin has been whispered about in collector circles, exaggerated in rumors, and inflated into legends of overnight wealth. The truth is far more interesting than the fantasy, because real value doesn't come from dreams alone. It comes from understanding rarity, condition, and the psychology of collectors. The year 1957 sits in a fascinating place in American coinage history. The country was stable, the economy was growing, and the U.S. Mint was producing coins in massive quantities to keep up with daily commerce. Millions upon millions of wheat pennies were struck that year, flooding pockets, jars, and cash registers nationwide. Because of this, the 1957 penny became invisible, too common to notice, too small to respect. And yet, that very abundance created the perfect disguise. When something exists everywhere, no one thinks to look closely. Coins slipped through quality control, metal compositions varied slightly, and rare imperfections quietly escaped into circulation, unnoticed for decades. Here is where fantasy and reality split. A normal 1957 wheat penny, even today, is not worth millions. That is the uncomfortable truth many videos refuse to say. But value in coins is not about the date alone, it is about condition, strike, errors, and survival. A penny that has never been touched by circulation, preserved in flawless mint condition, becomes something entirely different from the same penny worn down by time. Collectors don't pay for age, they pay for perfection. A coin frozen in time becomes a witness to history rather than a casualty of it. Now imagine a 1957 wheat penny that survived untouched, no scratches, no dullness, no fingerprints burned into the copper. Its surfaces glow with original luster, sharp details, and rich color. Such coins are extremely rare, not because they weren't made, but because almost none survived that way. Most were spent, dropped, cleaned, damaged, or forgotten. In the collector world, survival is everything. A perfect coin from a common year can sometimes command prices that shock even experienced collectors, because demand crushes supply when condition reaches extreme levels. Then come the errors, the real heart-stoppers. A tiny misalignment, an off-center strike, a doubled image so subtle it takes trained eyes to see. These mistakes happened in silence, late in minting rooms, when machines drifted slightly out of calibration. The coin didn't scream, "I am special." It blended in. Decades later, when discovered, these errors transform an ordinary penny into something extraordinary. Not million-dollar extraordinary in most cases, but enough to change lives, pay debts, fund businesses, or rewrite someone's financial story. The myth of instant billionaire wealth attached to wheat pennies comes from rare historical exceptions, coins that should never have existed, struck on wrong metals or during wartime shortages. The 1957 penny does not belong to that category. But dismissing it as worthless would be equally foolish. Collectors are not hunting miracles, they are hunting scarcity within familiarity. A coin that everyone ignores becomes irresistible when it breaks the rules of expectation. That tension, between common and rare, is what drives value upward over time. Another silent factor is copper itself. The 1957 wheat penny was made during a period when copper content still mattered, before later changes diluted the metal's intrinsic feel. Over decades, collectors developed emotional attachment to the weight, sound, and color of these coins. Emotional value fuels financial value more than people admit. A collector doesn't just buy a penny, they buy a memory, a story, a connection to a vanished America where even small change carried dignity. Condition grading is brutal and unforgiving. One microscopic flaw can collapse value by thousands. Two coins from the same year can sit worlds apart in price because one lived in a drawer while the other lived in a pocket. This is why people are told not to clean coins. Cleaning destroys originality, and originality is sacred. A cleaned penny loses its soul in the collector market. The untouched coin, however, becomes sacred copper, protected by time rather than polished by hands. So can a 1957 wheat penny make you rich overnight? Not in the fantasy way YouTube titles scream about. But could the right example, perfect, rare, error-struck, change your financial direction dramatically? Absolutely. Many collectors have paid staggering amounts for coins that broke expectations. Wealth doesn't always arrive like lightning. Sometimes it arrives like recognition, slow, inevitable, and earned through patience. The real danger is not undervaluing the coin, it is undervaluing knowledge. People sell coins cheaply because they don't understand what they own. Others hoard coins blindly, believing every penny is a lottery ticket. The smart path lives between those extremes. Education turns metal into leverage. Understanding turns hope into strategy. The 1957 wheat penny rewards those who respect nuance rather than chasing myths. Time continues to thin the population of high-grade coins. Every year, more are damaged, lost, or mishandled. That quiet disappearance slowly pushes values upward. What feels ordinary today can feel impossible tomorrow. Collecting is not gambling, it is long-term belief in survival and scarcity. Coins do not need to be legendary to be powerful, they need to be rare in the way that matters most. Stories of overnight fortune exist because people love miracles. But real coin wealth is quieter, steadier, and far more reliable. The 1957 wheat penny teaches a lesson most people miss. Value is not in shouting rarity, but in proving it. When the right coin meets the right collector at the right time, numbers stop looking small. If you own a 1957 wheat penny, the smartest move is not panic selling or blind belief. It is respect. Handle it carefully. Preserve it. Understand it. Let experts judge it honestly. The coin does not owe you a fortune, but if it is special, it will reveal itself through facts, not fantasies. In the end, the power of the 1957 wheat penny is not that it can turn you into a billionaire overnight. Its real power is deeper. It teaches patience, discipline, and the difference between noise and truth. And sometimes, when truth meets rarity and time, even a single cent can grow into something far greater than anyone ever expected. Second up, the 1945 wheat penny enters history at a moment when the world was holding its breath. World War II had just ended, emotions were raw, economies were shifting, and America was stepping into a new era. This tiny 1-cent coin was born in that fragile moment, slipping quietly into circulation while soldiers returned home and factories changed purpose. No one paid attention to it then. It passed through hands too busy rebuilding lives to notice small copper details. Yet decades later, this overlooked penny would become a source of obsession, rumor, and hope, whispered about as a coin that could carry unimaginable wealth under the right circumstances. At first glance, the 1945 wheat penny looks harmless and common. Lincoln's portrait feels familiar. The wheat ears on the reverse look simple, almost humble. Millions were produced, flooding the nation with copper cents meant to work, not to be admired. This overwhelming supply is exactly why the coin became invisible. When something is everywhere, no one questions it. But history teaches us a dangerous lesson. Rarity does not always announce itself at birth. Sometimes rarity is created slowly, as time destroys most examples and only a few survive in extraordinary condition. The stories that surround the 1945 wheat penny often blur reality with fantasy. Claims of instant billionaire wealth spread fast because people want miracles. The truth is quieter but more powerful. A normal, worn 1945 penny is not worth millions. That is the line most viral videos refuse to say. But value in coin collecting is not about dates alone. It is about condition, survival, originality, and anomalies that were never meant to exist. When these factors align, even a common coin can rise into a completely different financial universe. Condition is where everything changes. A 1945 wheat penny that spent decades rubbing against other coins loses its sharpness, its shine, its voice. But a penny that somehow escaped circulation, protected from moisture, friction, and careless hands, becomes a time capsule. Its surfaces glow with untouched copper color, Its details remain razor-sharp, and its presence feels almost unreal. Coins like this are rare not because they were never made, but because almost none survived untouched. Collectors chase survival more fiercely than age. Then there are the minting irregularities, the silent rebels of the coin world. During mass production, machines drifted, dies wore down, and tiny mistakes slipped through unnoticed. A slight doubling in lettering, an off-center strike, an unusual alignment, details invisible to the untrained eye. These errors are not damage, they are birthmarks. When discovered decades later, they transform an ordinary penny into a collector's obsession. Not every error is priceless, but the right one can elevate a humble cent into a life-altering asset. The 1945 wheat penny also carries emotional weight that modern coins cannot replicate. It belongs to the last chapter of an era when copper still felt honest, heavy, and meaningful. Later pennies would change composition, sound, and soul. Collectors are not just investors, they are storytellers. They pay for connection, nostalgia, and authenticity. A pristine 1945 penny is not just metal, it is the echo of victory, relief, and transition frozen in copper. One of the most misunderstood dangers is cleaning a coin. Many people, believing they are improving appearance, unknowingly destroy value forever. Cleaning strips originality, and originality is sacred in the collector world. A cleaned 1945 wheat penny may look brighter, but to collectors it becomes damaged, stripped of its history. The untouched coin, even with natural aging, carries far more respect and financial power than one polished by human impatience. The myth of overnight billionaire transformation comes from extremely rare historical mistakes, coins struck on wrong metals or during chaotic shortages. The 1945 penny does not belong to that extreme category, but dismissing it would be equally foolish. The real wealth potential lies in exceptional examples, not average ones. Coins don't need to break the laws of history to be valuable, they need to break expectations. Another quiet force working in the background is time itself. Every year, more high-quality 1945 wheat pennies disappear due to mishandling, corrosion, or ignorance. Supply quietly shrinks while interest grows. Collectors enter the market faster than perfect coins can survive. This slow imbalance pushes prices upward, not explosively, but relentlessly. True coin wealth grows like pressure, not like fire. People lose money not because coins lack value, but because they lack understanding. Some sell too fast, believing a penny is just a penny. Others hoard blindly, believing every cent is a lottery ticket. The smart path is knowledge. Knowing what to preserve, what to verify, and what to ignore turns metal into leverage. The 1945 wheat penny rewards patience more than belief. When the right 1945 wheat penny appears, untouched, original, rare in condition or error, it commands attention instantly. Collectors recognize it not by hype, but by instinct and proof. At that moment, numbers stop looking small. 4 figures become 5. 5 becomes 6. Wealth doesn't shout when it arrives. It negotiates quietly behind closed doors. Owning such a coin is not about rushing to sell or dreaming wildly. It is about respect. Proper storage, careful handling, and professional evaluation matter more than excitement. The coin does not promise fortune, but if it is special, it will reveal that truth through facts, not fantasies. The real power of the 1945 wheat penny is not that it can magically make someone rich overnight. Its power is deeper and more dangerous. It teaches patience, discipline, and the cost of ignorance. It shows how history rewards those who pay attention while punishing those who chase noise. In the end, the 1945 wheat penny stands as a reminder that value hides quietly. Not every coin changes a life, but the right coin, at the right moment, in the right condition, absolutely can. And sometimes, the smallest cent carries the heaviest lesson of all. Fortune favors understanding, not desperation. Third up, the 1951 wheat penny arrived quietly, without ceremony, at a time when America was settling into a new rhythm after war and sacrifice. Factories were running, cities were expanding, and money was moving fast. This small copper coin passed from hand to hand without a second glance, treated as nothing more than change. Yet history has a habit of hiding its most interesting secrets in plain sight. Decades later, The same penny that once bought nothing more than a moment of convenience would spark rumors of unimaginable wealth and whispered claims of fortunes sleeping inside copper. At first glance, the 1951 wheat penny feels almost too ordinary to matter. Lincoln's portrait is familiar. The wheat stalks on the reverse feel traditional and calm. Millions were struck, flooding daily commerce and erasing any sense of individuality. That overwhelming quantity created a dangerous illusion that this coin could never be special. But in the world of rare coins, abundance at birth does not guarantee worthlessness later. Time is ruthless. It destroys most examples and quietly crowns the survivors. Many stories exaggerate the 1951 wheat penny into a magical object capable of turning anyone into a billionaire overnight. That fantasy spreads easily because hope travels faster than truth. The reality is more complex, more subtle, and ultimately more powerful. A typical circulated 1951 penny is not worth millions. But coin value is not built on dates alone. It is built on condition, originality, rare characteristics, and survival against odds. When those forces align, the value of a single cent can leap far beyond common expectations. Condition is where the story truly changes. A 1951 wheat penny that lived its life in circulation becomes worn, softened, and muted. Its details blur, its copper darkens unevenly, and its identity fades. But a penny that somehow avoided that fate, stored away, untouched, uncleaned, and protected, becomes something else entirely. Its surfaces remain sharp, its color rich and alive, and its presence almost shocking. Coins like this are rare not because they were never made, but because almost none were allowed to survive untouched. Then come the silent mistakes of the minting process, the accidental signatures of imperfection. During high-speed production, machines drifted, dies wore unevenly, and tiny anomalies slipped through unnoticed. A faint doubling, a misalignment, a subtle irregularity that no one saw in 1951 suddenly becomes priceless decades later. These are not damages, they are proof that the coin escaped perfection. Collectors hunt these pieces relentlessly, because they represent moments that were never supposed to exist. The emotional pull of the 1951 wheat penny also plays a role in its desirability. This coin belongs to the final years of the classic wheat design, an era before modern pennies lost their weight, sound, and presence. Collectors are not purely logical buyers. They chase feeling as much as rarity. Holding a pristine 1951 penny feels like touching a world that moved slower, where even small change carried dignity and permanence. One of the greatest threats to value is misunderstanding. Many people believe cleaning a coin increases worth, when in reality it does the opposite. Cleaning strips away originality, and originality is everything. A cleaned 1951 wheat penny loses the very qualities collectors pay for. Natural aging is acceptable. Human interference is not. The untouched coin, even with gentle toning, commands far more respect and money than a polished imitation of beauty. The myth of instant billionaire wealth attached to wheat pennies usually comes from extreme historical errors, coins struck on the wrong metal or during chaotic wartime shortages. The 1951 penny does not belong to that legendary category, but it does not need to. Its value potential lives in excellence, not impossibility. A coin does not need to be mythical to be powerful, it needs to be rare in the ways that matter. Time itself is a silent partner in this story. Every year, more high-grade 1951 wheat pennies disappear through corrosion, mishandling, or ignorance. The population of truly exceptional examples keeps shrinking while collector interest keeps growing. This slow imbalance creates pressure, and pressure creates value. Not explosive, not overnight, but steady, undeniable growth. People lose money on coins not because coins lack value, but because knowledge is missing. Some sell too quickly, believing a penny can never matter. Others hold blindly, believing every coin is destiny. The real advantage belongs to those who understand what they are holding. Knowledge turns copper into leverage and patience into profit. When a truly special 1951 wheat penny surfaces, original, untouched, rare in quality or error, it immediately separates itself from the ordinary. Collectors recognize it instantly. Competition begins quietly, behind closed doors, where prices climb without noise. At that point, numbers stop looking small, and expectations shift rapidly. Owning such a coin is not about rushing to sell or chasing fantasy. It is about restraint, preservation, and verification. Proper storage, careful handling, and expert evaluation matter more than excitement. The coin does not promise fortune, but if it carries exceptional traits, it will prove its worth without exaggeration. The real power of the 1951 wheat penny is not the promise of magical wealth. Its power lies in what it teaches, that value hides in details, that patience beats desperation, and that history rewards attention more than belief. It exposes the difference between noise and substance. In the end, the 1951 wheat penny stands as a quiet reminder that fortune rarely arrives shouting. Sometimes it whispers from the smallest places, waiting for someone who understands its language. And in rare cases, a single cent, preserved against all odds, can change a financial story forever, not through fantasy, but through truth. Fourth up. The 1953 wheat penny entered the world quietly, without drama, during a time when America was moving forward but still carrying the weight of recent history. People were rebuilding routines, money was flowing faster, and coins were treated as tools, not treasures. This penny slipped into circulation unnoticed, passed through countless hands that never imagined its future potential. Yet history has a habit of planting value where no one looks. Decades later, this small copper cent would become surrounded by stories of immense worth, capable, under the rarest conditions, of transforming an ordinary life into something extraordinary. At first sight, the 1953 wheat penny appears almost boring. Lincoln's portrait feels familiar. The wheat stalks on the reverse look traditional and calm. Millions were produced, saturating the economy and creating the illusion of endless supply. That illusion is dangerous. In the world of rare coins, what matters is not how many were made, but how many survived in exceptional condition. Time is brutal. It scratches, corrodes, cleans, and destroys. What survives untouched becomes powerful. Many people hear claims that a 1953 wheat penny can make someone a billionaire overnight, and hope rushes in before reason. The truth is more disciplined. A typical circulated 1953 penny is not worth millions. But value is never about averages. Coin wealth is built on extremes: extreme condition, extreme rarity, extreme preservation. When a coin escapes wear, cleaning, and neglect, it crosses into a completely different category where ordinary rules no longer apply. Condition is the heart of the story. A 1953 wheat penny that lived in pockets loses its sharp edges and softens into history. But a penny that avoided circulation, locked away, forgotten, untouched, retains its original copper glow and crisp details. Such coins feel unnatural, almost frozen in time. Collectors crave these survivors because they represent something nearly impossible: perfection from an era designed for use, not preservation. Then come the minting irregularities, the silent accidents that turn metal into legend. During mass production, dies aged, machines drifted, and tiny mistakes slipped through unnoticed. A slight doubling of letters, an unusual strike, or a subtle alignment flaw might go unseen for decades. These are not damages, they are birth defects, and in the collector world, they are gold. When discovered, such anomalies elevate a simple penny into a high-stakes object of desire. The emotional weight of the 1953 wheat penny cannot be ignored. This coin belongs to the closing chapter of the wheat design era, before modern changes stripped pennies of their character. The copper feels different, sounds different, and ages differently. Collectors are driven by emotion as much as logic. They don't just buy rarity, they buy connection. Holding a pristine 1953 penny feels like touching a quieter, steadier America. One of the most common mistakes people make is cleaning coins. It feels natural to polish something old, but in coin collecting, cleaning is destruction. It removes originality, and originality is sacred. A cleaned 1953 wheat penny loses trust instantly in the collector market. Natural aging is acceptable. Human interference is not. The untouched coin, even with gentle toning, commands far more respect and far higher prices. The myth of instant billionaire wealth often comes from legendary errors in other years, coins that should never have existed. The 1953 wheat penny does not rely on myth. Its value potential lies in excellence. A coin does not need to be impossible to be powerful. It only needs to be rare in the ways collectors truly care about. Time quietly reshapes the market. Every year, more high-grade 1953 wheat pennies disappear due to corrosion, mishandling, or ignorance. At the same time, interest in classic American coins continues to grow. This slow imbalance tightens the market. Pressure builds silently. Value rises without noise. This is how real coin wealth forms, not in explosions, but in inevitability. People lose money not because coins lack value, but because they lack understanding. Some sell too quickly, convinced a penny can never matter. Others hold blindly, believing every coin is destiny. The winning position belongs to knowledge. Knowing what to preserve, what to evaluate, and what to ignore turns copper into leverage. When a truly special 1953 wheat penny surfaces, untouched, original, and rare in condition or error, it immediately separates itself from the crowd. Collectors recognize it instantly. Competition begins quietly, behind closed doors, where prices climb without headlines. At that moment, expectations shift, and numbers stop looking small. Owning such a coin is not about panic selling or chasing fantasies. It is about patience and respect. Proper storage, minimal handling, and expert evaluation matter more than excitement. The coin does not promise wealth, but if it carries exceptional traits, it will prove its worth through facts alone. The real power of the 1953 wheat penny is not that it magically creates billionaires. Its power lies in discipline. It teaches that value hides in details, that patience beats desperation, and that history rewards those who pay attention rather than those who chase noise. In the end, the 1953 wheat penny stands as a quiet reminder that fortune rarely arrives shouting. Sometimes it whispers from a single cent, waiting for someone who understands its language. And in rare moments, that understanding can turn the smallest piece of copper into a life-changing asset. Fifth up, the 1948 wheat penny stepped into the world quietly, without applause, during a moment when America was learning how to breathe again after years of tension and sacrifice. The war was over, factories had shifted gears, and people were focused on rebuilding their lives, not inspecting pocket change. This small copper cent moved freely through hands that never imagined it could one day be discussed in terms of unimaginable wealth. Yet history has always enjoyed hiding its most intriguing possibilities inside the smallest objects, waiting patiently for time to reveal what humans overlook. At first glance, the 1948 wheat penny feels ordinary, almost invisible. Lincoln's familiar profile looks calm and steady, while the wheat ears on the reverse feel traditional and modest. Millions were produced, and that flood of coins erased any sense of uniqueness. When something is everywhere, it becomes nothing. But coin history teaches a powerful lesson. Value is not created by how many coins are made, but by how few survive in extraordinary condition. Time does not preserve, it destroys. Only the lucky, the protected, and the forgotten escape its grip. Rumors often turn the 1948 wheat penny into a symbol of overnight billionaire dreams. Those stories spread fast because hope is contagious. The reality is more controlled and far more interesting. A typical circulated 1948 penny is not worth millions. But collectors do not pay for averages. They pay for extremes. Extreme preservation, extreme rarity within condition, and extreme originality are the forces that can lift a humble cent into a realm most people never expect. Condition changes everything. A 1948 wheat penny that lived its life in circulation slowly lost its sharp edges, its brilliance, and its voice. But a penny that somehow avoided pockets, cash drawers, and careless handling becomes a survivor. Its copper surfaces remain alive, its details sharp and proud, as if it never aged at all. Coins like this feel unnatural because they defy their purpose. They were meant to be spent, not preserved. That contradiction is exactly what collectors chase. Then there are the minting imperfections, the quiet accidents that create legends. In massive production runs, machines drifted, dies wore unevenly, and small mistakes slipped through unnoticed. A subtle doubling, a slightly off-center strike, or an unusual detail invisible to casual eyes can transform a simple penny into an object of obsession decades later. These are not damages caused by time, they are birthmarks, and in the collector world, birthmarks can be priceless. The 1948 wheat penny also carries emotional gravity. It belongs to the classic wheat era, a period when coins felt solid, honest, and purposeful. Later pennies would change in composition and character, losing much of that presence. Collectors are not robots chasing numbers, they are humans chasing feeling. They buy stories, eras, and memories. A pristine 1948 penny feels like holding a calm moment in history, frozen in copper. One of the most dangerous mistakes people make is cleaning coins. It feels logical to polish something old, but in coin collecting, cleaning is destruction. It erases originality, and originality is everything. A cleaned 1948 wheat penny loses credibility instantly. Natural toning is respected. Human interference is not. The untouched coin, even with gentle aging, commands far more respect and value than one made shiny by impatience. The myth of instant billionaire wealth attached to wheat pennies usually comes from extremely rare historical mistakes in other years. The 1948 penny does not rely on fantasy. Its strength lies in excellence. A coin does not need to be mythical to be powerful. It needs to be rare in the ways collectors truly value. Perfection is rarer than error, and survival is rarer than age. Time continues to work silently in the background. Every year, more high-quality 1948 wheat pennies are lost to corrosion, mishandling, or ignorance. At the same time, interest in classic American coins continues to grow worldwide. This slow imbalance tightens the market. Pressure builds quietly. Value rises without headlines. This is how real coin wealth forms, not suddenly, but inevitably. People lose money in coins not because coins lack value, but because understanding is missing. Some sell too fast, believing a penny can never matter. Others hold blindly, believing every coin is destiny. The advantage belongs to knowledge. Knowing what to preserve, what to evaluate, and what to ignore turns copper into leverage instead of disappointment. When a truly exceptional 1948 wheat penny appears, untouched, original, and rare in condition or minting character, it separates itself instantly from the ordinary. Collectors recognize it without hesitation. Competition begins behind closed doors, where prices rise quietly and expectations shift rapidly. At that level, numbers no longer feel small. Owning such a coin is not about panic selling or chasing wild promises. It is about patience, discipline, and respect. Proper storage, minimal handling, and expert evaluation matter far more than excitement. The coin does not promise fortune, but if it carries exceptional traits, it will reveal its worth through facts, not noise. The true power of the 1948 wheat penny is not that it magically creates billionaires overnight. Its power lies in education. It teaches that value hides in details, that patience beats desperation, and that history rewards those who pay attention rather than those who chase rumors. In the end, the 1948 wheat penny stands as a quiet reminder that fortune rarely arrives shouting. Sometimes it whispers from a single cent, waiting for someone who understands its language. And in rare cases, that understanding can turn a forgotten piece of copper into a life-changing asset.